Hello, welcome to the Animal Intuitive Show. I'm Ann Angela Webb, the Animal Intuitive. And tonight we have a little bit of a different show. For those of you that are familiar with the show, this show is normally about animal communication, natural pet care. We do interviews with people who are experts in the fields of animal care and advocacy. But tonight I wanted to do something a little bit different. I came across a situation or a case, I guess you would say, a crime that happened to somebody through listening to a podcast called Jensen and Holes. And it really just struck me because of the involvement, I guess, partly because there was a dog involved, a dog named Bowie, and also just because, when you hear about certain people, you sometimes get the feeling that they're people that you actually could have befriended. They're people that you have a lot in common with. You just get that sense that if you had, known them in life, that you would have had a lot in common, a lot to talk about. So I did want to mention, I will try, if there are people here who did come to stay on till the end, I did mention in my posting that I was going to be here to do animal communication. Depending on how long this goes, I will do that if I can kind of hang in there. I don't know what shape I'll be in by the end of this, depending on how long we talk. Alex Erickson is going to hopefully be joining me. I see she is here. She was running a little late and she was going to try to join me. She has her own YouTube channel. She solely deals with, one of the things she focuses on it is true crime. And so I asked her to come along and be a part of this podcast, or part of this. I do post this to a podcast actually, but to be on this show with me just to help me out with this. She's at her son's football game, so hopefully she'll be able to join. So hopefully I've listened to enough true crime to be able to do this. And I used to be I am a licensed clinical social worker. Hopefully I, have some experience with talking about people and their situations and things that have happened that are really unfortunate. Katie Janness, I've heard her name pronounced Janness and Janness. I'm going to say Janness because that's mostly what I've heard it pronounced as. And her dog, Bowie, were victims of a terrible crime. They were murdered on July 28th, 2021, so not that long ago. Jensen and Holes, they are very experienced in the world of crime. Billy Jensen is a true crime journalist. He's very focused on missing persons, helps law enforcement agencies. And Paul Holes, he had some help with a book also about the Golden State Killer that has been given a lot of credit for helping to catch the Golden State Killer. Paul Holes is a former cold case investigator, and he's worked on the Zodiac, Golden State Killer, FBI task force officer. He worked with FBI to catch the Joseph D'Angelo, no relation that I know of, but the Golden State Killer. Oh, Caris, you live half a mile from there and you've heard nothing. Okay, well that's really good to know. That's why I wanted to bring this up. That's why I'm babbling on about Jensen and Holes, because they said in their podcast that they wanted attention to be brought to this case because, and to me too, it seemed like it just wasn't getting a lot of attention. And they had some suggestions. So that's what I wanted to do this, because I'm going to mention those things tonight, and I'm going to have some links posted in the description below too for people who are watching this later that you can follow up on too. So hi, Mel. Thank you for being here from North Carolina. Okay, so many of my friends are talking about it. One that works at the park where they were killed. Oh, geez. Okay. This is Katie, and I'm going to call her name is, of course, Kathleen, but all over the place, the name Katie is used. So, it seems like that's the name that her family has put out there. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that seems to be the name she went by. So this is Katie, and this is Bowie, her pit bull. He was, from what I've heard, 3. And he was described as her baby boy. Okay, so some things that I wanted to mention. Katie was 40 years old. She lived in Atlanta, Georgia with her wife of 7 years, Emma Clark. Katie and Emma lived with Bowie, their 3-year-old pit bull, and also dogs Tori and Fig. Katie was a bartender, wrote her own songs, and taught others to play guitar. There's a lot more about her I'm going to talk about. She just sounds like a wonderful person. But one of the things that was mentioned on Jensen Hall's podcast was that she loved true crime, and she would take these walks with her dog and listen to true crime while she was walking him. So that, of course, struck me because that's something I do. This happened in Piedmont Park. If you're, I guess, in Atlanta, you would know, you're familiar with this. Piedmont Park on July 28th, 2001, off of 10th Street and Charles Allen Drive. She told her wife, Emma, that she was taking Bowie for a walk. She had stopped by Henry's Midtown Tavern where Emma was working. She was supposed to come back and meet her, and then she didn't show up. So when Emma was ready to head home, Katie didn't answer her phone. She's calling her. She's wondering where she is. So she, I guess, traced her by using a phone app, went to the park, and found Katie and Bowie dead at the entrance. She told 11 Alive News in Atlanta that she initially thought Bowie was hit by a car because they sometimes go through the road area of the park. However, when she began calling for Katie, she noticed her body maybe 100 feet away. She said she ran up to her, tried to feel her pulse, and it was clear that she was gone. She said, I turned around and I just ran out of the park. It was dark and I didn't know what was going on. I was terrified and shocked. That's when I called the cops immediately. You just horrendous, awful. Your heart just goes out to her. It was apparently a very awful scene. From what has been said by the police, just really bad. What she came across. There's a 911 call. I don't normally listen to 911 calls. They really affect me, but I did listen to hers because of this. I'm not going to play it just out of respect for her and her family, but it is out there. The Atlanta Police Department said that Katie was found stabbed numerous times. Bowie was also stabbed to death. It's hard to even read this. Quoting from Jensen and Holes, there was a rumor of a marking that was found on Katie of a homophobic slur. This has not been confirmed, but if it was confirmed, it would be a hate crime. And then after that, the police went door to door. They went to businesses looking for videos, just to see if people had any videos from their security footage. There were cameras in the park, and unfortunately, not a lot of them. I think there's 3 cameras. I'm going to play you that footage. Unfortunately, there were 7 others, I think it was, or 8 others, but they did not work. Jensen and Holes did mention that they could have more footage than they're showing, of course, but just not sharing it with people. And we know they do that sometimes because they need to do that for the case, to keep things, they have to keep things for different reasons. They have to not show everything. So I'm going to just show you, this was Katie and Bowie. This was the last photo. This was them walking into the park. It was approximately 1 a.m. I'm going to go back and look at the comments because I can't really look at them while I'm doing this, but I do want to thank you for leaving the comments. Okay, so that was them. Okay. The police also looked in a lake in the park. I didn't really hear anything about that, if anything was in the lake, but that they apparently did search a lake in the park. There was some hair found on Bowie, or a strand of hair. That's all that was said about that to the public. Let me show you this video. So this is the video that, hopefully this will work, that the police wanted people to see. And part of why I'm doing this show, because I want people to take a look and share this video. It's actually, I'm getting this from the Twitter feed for the police department. The Atlanta Police Department is where I'm playing it from. Um, Oops, wait a minute. Don't tell me this isn't going to work. Oh no. There we go. Okay. Nope, that's not what I need. Nope. I really did. I had this set up. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to work here. Okay, so we're like 13 seconds into that. It's going to reset. So this is, okay, so I guess there was maybe, there it's resetting. Okay, so this is one person here. You see it coming out of the park on the left. Now, the police want people to see these pictures not because they think these are necessarily suspects, but because they do want to talk to these people, because these people might have seen something. So they emphasize these are not suspects. I believe it was that jogger that they have reached, but I could be wrong about that. There was one person, and I read it was a jogger, that person came forward. I'm going to put the link. I don't have this in the description yet of the video. I'm going to put this link in the below. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can click on it and find it. So these are all people that may have seen something and could have valuable information. And that's why, you know, the Jensen and Holt had done their podcast, that they wanted people to be aware of that. So, okay. So let me get my other thing back up here. Let me just check in here with the comments since I've kind of abandoned you here. I'm also going to pull in a picture here also of another photo, if it will let me, here of Katie and Bowie. See how much, you can just see how much she loves him. So yeah, 9 cameras in the 200 plus acres of land. That was something that has been brought up. Yeah, the jogger came forward. Okay. Yeah, big concern, I guess, in the community, huh? Thank you for your patience, Melmac. I know you feel safe with your big dog, but it's dicey. You think it's okay, and you know, I feel the same way. I always think with my German Shepherd. But so that was the thing. This was something else that was brought up that I wanted to talk about. And of course, you can go listen to Jensen and Holes. They're wonderful. But they are a podcast. So I wanted to use this platform as well. You know, I actually wrote into them, and because this isn't what I normally do, and I don't want to be somebody that just, you know, repeats stuff. But Billy Jensen was nice enough to write back, and he said, yeah, go ahead and do it, because the more attention that can be given, the better. So I felt like, you know, better about doing it, that he said that, and it was nice of him to respond. So okay, so there is quite a nice reward if somebody will come forward and help with this situation, if they can, you know, lead to finding this person. There is a $20,000 reward. This says 10,000. This is now 20, actually. I guess I didn't have the updated one. This was 10,000, but then PETA, or PETA, depending on how you pronounce it, they matched it. So it's now a $20,000 reward. I'm trying to get out of the picture here. Um, so there's Katie. That's a little bit better close up of her. You can see her face a little bit better than some of the other pictures. Um, and, please contact Atlanta PD Homicide with any information you may have at 404-546-4235. I'll have that down below too. Or Crime Stoppers. I should have set that up and I forgot to go across the screen, but or Crime Stoppers at 404-577-TIPS. That'll be in the description below. Okay, great. So Alex will be coming on soon. Um, yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. Um, I was just really moved by this whole story. So, Deputy Chief Charles Hampton Jr. said to be aware of those in your lives. So, those around, I guess, more so the Atlanta area, but pay attention to anyone with unexplained injuries, an intense attraction to this case in the media. He stressed that there is nothing too small. For instance, if someone has changed their hair color or appearance, or perhaps someone you know missed work or school or went on an impromptu vacation. So Jensen and Hall stressed that this is super important. Somebody that changed their pattern, post offense behavior is huge. Every offense is going to have some sort of reaction, or every offender is going to have some sort of reaction to the crime they just committed. So that behavior is often expressed in the, or that offense is somehow expressed in their behavior after the crime. There may be aspects of paranoia, changing their physical appearance, changing geographic profile. This is all really important. And somebody who knows them may have noticed something strange. Um, you may not think that they're capable of a crime like this, but then you realize after the crime this person is acting bizarrely, following the case, reading the papers, watching the news, a little closer than normal. So I'm also going to post some screenshots on my social media. So if you see those, if you go to my Facebook or Instagram and share those, take screenshots, you can get them there and then share them on yours, or forward them from my page, whatever works. So Katie was actually, it's just really neat because she was part of, they call them murderinos. So it's just a name that came up for people that are really interested in true crime and listen to a group of podcasts that include Jensen and Holes, and My Favorite Murder is one of them. And so Katie was a person who was considered a murderino. So that was another reason, that Jensen and Holes really, I guess felt that they really wanted to do this. So this is Katie and Bowie again. Really sweet picture of the two of them. And you just feel so much for her wife, Emma. Just the trauma. I heard that Emma has actually left the area. She can't be there anymore. She moved out and she doesn't work where she worked anymore. It's just too much of a reminder for her. Just the terrible trauma. Yes, July 28th, Mel. July 28th. Um, that's not Bowie. Oh my goodness. That's the picture that's been. Who is it? Which one is it? Nicole LeBlanc is saying. Can you tell us which. Who is that? Is that a different dog? Was that Fig, or I'm forgetting the other dog's name that I said? Um, I don't know. That's the picture that was shown. They have two dogs. That is their other dog. Okay, I thought they two others plus this one. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Let me see. I have some other photos, so maybe um that I did get that might be more accurate then. Because there was a picture at the. Okay, so this was one too that was shown. I don't know. Is this not Bowie either? I don't know. um, I guess Nicole, did you know them? Are you friends with them? Um, is this Bowie? Because this was one that was associated with the GoFundMe page, which actually it looks like the organizer stopped the GoFundMe. Maybe they raised enough. Okay, so Nicole says this is Bowie. Okay. Um, what a sweet dog. Look at the eyes. Look at that. Um, one of the things that was discussed on the podcast was that okay, so yeah, that's backed up. That is Bowie. Okay, so you know, and Emma said this was a quote. Today I lost the love of my life and my baby boy. It was tragic. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble, and beautiful person I've ever known. I wanted to spend every second with her. He was the sweetest, most loyal companion. My heart is so very broken. My world will never be the same. Thank you, everyone who has reached out. It is truly appreciated. So yeah, almost $80,000 was raised. Um, oh, okay. So Nicole, you don't know them, but you've been following it. Yeah, it's so it does. It just ugh, um, pulls at your heartstrings. Yeah. So there's really a large community of people who just really felt for them, and I guess they had a reputation of helping other people too. Um, they've helped people financially as well, so people wanted to give back. But Billy Jensen did have contact with a friend named Paige, Katie's friend, and he asked they wanted to know more about Bowie and what he would have done in this situation. So um, what Paige said was he was a pretty hyperactive dog. He would jump and lick you. He was young, 3 years old, I believe. He just wanted to play all the time. Very sweet dog. I have no doubt, though, most likely that he went into protection mode that night. Everything happened. Not sure how he'd be on walks. I don't believe he'd be aggressive towards someone just walking by. Um, so there's Alex. Let me. You are there as a. It's just black, Alex. I don't know if you're just. Are you just on audio? Oh, you know what? I think I had her blocked. Her mic maybe. I don't know. Alex.
Hello?
Oh, hi. Hi there. You are. Do you mean to be not on camera? Because
Yeah,
you're.
you had me muted.
Okay. You are all black. Are you supposed
Well,
to be not
yes,
on camera?
because
Okay, you kind of cut out. Um, Alex, can you hear me? You kind of cut out there. I don't hear you anymore. Um, once Alex comes in, I'm actually gonna let her grab this. I intentionally went and got my headphones and then forgot to bring them in here right before the show started. And when you have a guest on and you don't wear headphones, things can go awry. You get these weird alien sounds. I'm gonna let her take over for a second once we can hear her. Um, yeah, it's just horrendous. I know. It's like you feel this anger. I I hear you, Mel. Um, maybe Alex, if you call back in, maybe that'll work. Um, so The question being, because it could have something to do with the kind of the profile of this person, the perpetrator of this crime, is what. Oh, okay, she had a bad signal. She's going to try back. Um, how Bowie would have reacted, because Paul Holes was saying two different things the offender had to accomplish. The dog and Katie. So the dog being potentially in protection mode, the offender would have to neutralize the threat. Doesn't necessarily have to kill him. But because Katie had such a connection to Bowie, she could have gone into protection mode. I can imagine that. And the offender disengages from the dog and focuses on Katie. They mentioned not wanting to fall into rumors, but did mention, because there was a mark that was reported on her. There were rumors about that. I think I mentioned that earlier, but there is no evidence, they said, in the law enforcement. I think the mayor or law enforcement came out and said that there isn't any evidence that this was a hate crime. FBI has been called in. They were actually called in really soon, so that's good. They said that this was really a unique crime for their area, so I'm glad that they called the FBI in soon. So this, I guess what Paul Holes was mentioning is that this perpetrator that could have been, they should look at somebody in the area potentially who, potentially if there was somebody who was harming animals in the years before this, that this offender could have sort of escalated. Like even killing Bowie could be part of the fantasy, which is just, I guess he said even in the last decade. So unsolved crimes against animals like dogs and cats, other small animals, could be kind of the coming up of this offender who would commit this type of crime. It sounds though, you know, as I mentioned, I don't, in other shows, when people have asked me this with other crimes, I would never connect with an animal having to deal with a crime without a family asking me. I just think that he did protect her, though. That's just it's just sort of a quick gut instinct. And I think that from what the friend said too, I think that he did, that he was trying to protect her. And I'm sure she was, went into protection mode about him too. I mean, it's just going to be your reaction. That's your kid. That's your fur kid. I did want to also, I had some other pictures I wanted to bring up. I feel like I'm going to forget something because I've got things a little bit out of order, as I mentioned. There was some really sweet things on the memorial. People left dog treats in addition to the flowers and everything. Isn't that nice? See little dog treats there. And this was a photo of, just a photo of Emma and Katie that I found on the GoFundMe page. I really didn't find too many. There was a news interview with Emma. That didn't seem like it would be good to play during this. It would be kind of confusing or distracting to play a news clip. But just what she went through. It's just awful. Thank you, Alex. And I had just another picture I wanted to show you of the memorial here. So people just really, there were just other pictures you could see. People who really just knew them in the area. They were people that people knew that were friendly. I know. I just really hope, and that's why I wanted to do this, just because it doesn't seem like it's getting a ton of attention. I can't imagine why. So I just want to keep the word out there and pictures out there. So a friend, the person who organized the GoFundMe, Heather is her name. I did ask her if she wanted if she could let the family know I was doing this. I didn't, she said she would pass this along to them. I mentioned if there's anything they wanted to say or if they wanted to come on, she was going to pass that along. I didn't hear back, and that's fine. But she was the GoFundMe organizer, and she said, to everyone who has donated, sent words of condolence, and helped to keep Katie and Bowie in the media. There are no words to express the gratitude of your generosity. We will continue to work, pray, be present in keeping Katie and Bowie in the hearts and minds of everyone to prevent this from happening again. We will not stop until there's justice. It could be next week or next year. Nonetheless, we will never stop. I ask now, if you're a believer in Christ, to pray that the perpetrator are found and brought to justice. We pray for the safety of your families and that you have many blessings laid on you. Well, absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine. It must have been so scary to have that happen and just shocking. Um,
Hello?
Hi, Alex. Do we have you here?
Yes, I am so sorry. We're traveling back from the game. We're not far from home now, but there's a couple areas that are a little bit spotty. That's why you couldn't hear me and you can't see me because we're in the car. But when we get there, I'll go on camera.
Okay. No worries. Did they win? I know that's not what's important, but
Yeah, they did
oh,
win.
well, that's exciting. Well, congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, I pretty much have mentioned, the only other thing is that I did want to mention that the detectives have said this is actually so I don't, where did I get this quote? Velasquez, I'm not sure who this is. I must have cut this off. Vincent Velasquez, a former homicide detective, was just quoted um, saying the lack of new, this was August 14th. He said the lack of new information coming out in the stabbing of Midtown resident Katie Janness is frustrating to some residents, especially females, who worry the attacker may still be in Piedmont Park area. Atlanta has never seen a case quite like this one, said Vincent Velasquez, um, former homicide detective. People have to understand the detectives, and I know many of them personally are hard at work trying to check everything out. He believes the silence from investigators is due in part because they have not progressed far enough in the investigation to put additional information out, such as a composite. I would have expected one to be released by now if they had a hard description. Um, he did investigate and close a similar case, a cold case, back in 2004. He urges patience. He says he's confident police will ultimately be able to find the Piedmont Park killer. I will mention that if this perpetrator is caught, which I pray he will be, he, her, I'm assuming it's he, it's usually the case, but they can be charged with aggravated cruelty to animals for Bowie. So, a person who commits aggravated cruelty to animals when he or she maliciously causes the death of an animal, maliciously causes physical harm to an animal by depriving it of a member of its body, by rendering a part of such animal's body, it's so crude and awful, but an animal's body is useless, or by seriously disfiguring such animal's body or a member thereof, or maliciously tortures an animal by the infliction of or subjection to severe or prolonged physical pain. The punishment: a person convicted of aggravated cruelty to animals shall be guilty of a felony with a felony of prison between 1 and 5 years, a fine of no more than 15,000 or both. A second or subsequent conviction of aggravated cruelty to animals will result in a lengthened prison term between 1 and 10 years and a fine of up to 100,000 or both. Um, I mean, hopefully the person would be getting maximum for Katie to begin with, but um,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
oh my gosh. I'm
Oh, you're there. Then you kind of went out, Alex. Oh, oh, you're there. Then you're gone. I'll just wait until we can hear her. Some other, just to mention, there were some rumors of an active serial killer being on loose in the city following this. They have not, they have denied that. I guess that doesn't mean there isn't, but law enforcement has said there's no evidence of that. I, I mean, they've changed serial killer from two murders. You know, that's the FBI's distinction, is that they've um, killed two. It used to be three. I don't know. Somebody that does something like this, they're going to do it again, of course. So, whatever you want to call it. But there was another person. There was a woman murdered the same day, the same night, that led people to think, well, maybe this was like a series of things that happened in the same night by one person. Her name was Tori Lang. She was 18. She was found shot to death at Stone Mountain on July 28th, the same day. Um, while both of their murders remain unsolved, law enforcement made it clear they don't feel the two are connected. Um, they condemned viral posts that claim the two killings, along with a third killing, was made up, that they're the work of a serial killer. Um, but Joe Clark, who's Emma's father.
hello.
Oh, hi, Alex. We can hear you, I think. Are you there? Oh, maybe she's gonna come back. Okay. So Joe Clark, who's Emma's father, said that there's a monster in the loose in the city of Atlanta. Um, okay,
Hello,
Alex.
can you hear me now? I am so
Yes.
sorry, and
Oh,
the
that's okay.
service is awful driving home, but we are almost home.
Oh, okay. I can hear you though.
Awesome. I did notice what I was saying is there seems to be a couple community members in the chat, which is really cool and interesting to see, their perspective because I know this has got to be scary to live in this area, with
Yeah.
all of this going on. But
Yeah.
finish and then I'll, ask some questions when we get through
Can
the
you
story.
can you just talk for 1 30-second period or something? Because I realize I don't have my headphones. I'm afraid we're gonna have alien sounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I cannot see the chat, you guys, but I do want to say thank you for coming and supporting Anne. And I know that she usually just does animal content, and this case has really touched her heart. So thank you guys for being here because I can't
I'm
see the
back.
chat.
Uh,
Okay, good.
I tried to make it so you could see the chat. I guess it didn't work. So one other thing I didn't mention is that there was another attack before this, I guess, on July 11th. An openly gay Asian man was found bleeding from his head, Joshua Dowd, barely breathing on train tracks in Buckhead. He was rushed to Grady Hospital with severe brain damage. He's been recovering since the attack and seems like from what I read a lot from what his partner had said, it's been a really long, it was brutal, very difficult, challenging recovery. It does seem like he's like every day getting a little bit better, but they haven't said that this is connected, but this is where kind of the it's that time, that's that thing of speculation right now. We just don't know enough, and there's not enough information to definitively say that there's any connection or that's the same thing,
Well,
same perpetrator. But
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, that's really scary. They have no idea. I can't imagine living there. And,
Yeah,
also 9 cameras on 200,000 acres in that park. That doesn't seem like a lot, you know?
right,
That's barely any.
right. Yeah, and I could be mistaken. I didn't even think that they all worked of those nine. I could be mistaken. If someone in the area knows for sure, I could be mistaken. I thought that not even all nine worked.
We are home now, but I can't hear you for a second. Oh, can you see me?
Mel, yeah, I would be convicted of harmful activity to a human that did this, period. Ugh. Yeah, I know, it's so angering, it's so upsetting. Um, Katie's friend Paige also said, she just kind of, mentioned some other things about Katie that I just found so many things I connected with her. Um, Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're
Oh,
home. I'm
there we
just
go.
getting.
We have
I'm
visual.
gonna grab. Yeah, I'm gonna grab my other phone and stuff so that I can
Okay.
see the comments so I can talk. But you keep talking, and I've got you on headphones. I'm
Okay,
listening.
great. Awesome. Okay. So her friend Paige said that, yes, she was, I guess the two of them connected. They were in Murder Reno groups. They bonded over many true crime podcasts, especially My Favorite Murder. They went to roller derby games together. I love roller skating, although I'm not into the roller derby too much, but they went to concerts. They had just gone to a concert 3 days before the murders. I guess Katie loved sharks, had a huge shark tattoo, and wanted to get more. She said she's one of the smartest people she ever met. She was teaching herself Japanese, and the best part of her was her awesome laugh. Um, so she just sounds
That
like
is
an
so
amazing
sad.
person. Yeah, just
Let's see. Let me try there for a second. Hold on. I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay.
Trying to get situated.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
I'm pulling you up on this other phone too, so I can communicate with your chat and you
Okay,
know.
great. So this must be, I think this is Bowie. From what I can, this is her and Bowie.
Yeah, I'm not able to see you from this end
Oh, really?
at all. Yeah, but I'm gonna pull it up on the phone. I'll be able to see every other phone. I'll be able to see everything. But last time I was able to see you the whole time when we, collabed.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you're so precious.
I mean, I would think
Meh.
that that poor dog was. You don't even want to think about it, but just what I'm sure he was trying to. Oh, yeah, Mel, I've been sucked into the rabbit hole of true crime for a while. It's just, yeah, this is probably, I guess this is the first time I did do one show. Alex was on here, a little more generalized, not talking really about any, but yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
It's a
which
slippery
is
slope.
awesome. I hope you keep doing videos with, especially where animals are involved, because you have a really unique
Yeah,
perspective.
that's my thing. I mean, that was what really got me. I kind of have stayed away from anything really true crimey because it was like, well, this doesn't really go with my thing, but with animals, it does for sure. Not that it doesn't matter to me that, of course the human matters, of course, too, but it's just kind of is,
Well, yeah,
of
yeah.
course. But do you know I can only see your ceiling,
So
I
I,
think? Does that matter? Are
I
you
know.
okay?
Well, it's okay. I was trying to watch you, so it's hard, and I'm not
Got
up
it.
where
Okay.
my trapod is. So I'm like, well, I'd rather watch you
Got
in the
it.
videos, but I am here. So
Does anybody from the area have anything did they wanted to mention? Is there anything we missed or that is you think might be important that I didn't mention? You know, because if you're there, it's kind of a little bit different. You know, you have that personal eyes on
Um, I,
things.
I have a question for you. So, since
Hmm.
you connect to these animal, you connect to animals, and we had talked about in other cases, like the Watts case, and how you can't connect because you hadn't got permission. But what about in the case of an animal passing?
Same thing. I would consider it. There's, you know, so if the pet parent, well, okay, I guess yeah. Like so, let's say that if Emma wasn't in the picture, like if she was single, I potentially could.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I'd have to think about it though from the perspective of why. Like, is it just my curiosity? Like, you know, there might be a little bit of a moral. I don't know. I could, as long as the animal didn't have anyone else that was there. Then I guess then I would think about it from most people have some family. So then I guess I would say, well, does the person's family want me connecting in with the energy of the whole situation and their loved one, even though it's the animal, I'm trying to get their perspective. I would still want the family probably's permission for that. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense. You are just a kind-hearted, wonderful person. I think a lot of people, they put their curiosity above ethics and morals, and you know what I mean, and you just don't do that, which I love that about you.
oh well, yeah. You know, it's part of our training. You know, when we do it's the way I teach too. My students, Penelope Smith's code of ethics should be something that people who do animal communication professionally should follow it. It's great. It outlines a lot of things that maybe you don't think of. You know, like if you don't do animal communication, you just might not even think about them, and then you realize, oh yeah, there's these like ethical things that go on. So and that
Yeah,
was one of them that she included in it that we have to have the permission. So um, she helps in that sense by giving us some parameters.
that's really
But
interesting. Um, I have a question. Then, not would you ever consider coming on and showing the 911 calls in some of the interviews?
um, oh, from this,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Um, I didn't think about the. I didn't want to show the 911 because play the 911 because I don't know. It just didn't seem. I don't know if the word is relevant. I mean, of course it's relevant, but um, it's really just her wife sounding horrified and panicked and calling the cops and
Right.
so I don't know. I tend to. I guess I didn't think of this so much as like me doing what some people are doing with true crime, like some of the ones you guys do, where you're really trying to kind of get to the bottom of things. I guess my perspective on this was more just getting the word out um, and trying to make sure people saw that video and that they were also aware of that those pointers that Paul Holes brought up about like being aware of any strange behaviors of people that even that they wouldn't think that their loved one or friend or whoever could ever do something like this, but yet noticing some strange things going on with them, like the day after and the days after. That those are things to be aware of that people might not necessarily be just not
Yeah.
be alert to. So I wasn't really thinking of it from that perspective to bring those things up. The interviews, you know, I could. I mean, they interviewed her wife, just talking about like what she came across, what she found,
Uh,
and also just saying like she was like sitting on the porch with her father. Like this wasn't like immediately, I don't think after, but she was interviewed, and she was just saying what happened, and she also was saying that they were asking her, "Do you have any idea why this happened? Like, do you think that this has any specific, like, she was targeted?" And she actually said she didn't think so. She felt like she was, but then she said, "I don't know." You know, she said like it could be, but could have just been a crime of opportunity. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I really didn't think that, Nicole. You know, Nicole was asking, did I think that, the wife could have been involved? That did not even, to be honest with you, come up for me in this. I guess it just didn't. There's definitely true crime cases where I get a lot of times like a gut feeling. I didn't feel that way at all about this. And I think they probably had to look at, as they always do, they probably had to look into alibis and things like that, even if they didn't think she was involved. I'm sure they had to clear her just because that's just what they do. So she was working. I know that. So, and there's
Yeah, I
probably
saw
data.
Nicole's comment. I was
Yeah, and there's
wondering that
data
he thought that
too.
too.
Because she was like tracking her on her phone. So I think maybe somehow like there's some kind of like technical way that they knew that she was doing what she said she was doing, probably. I don't know. Um,
I bet you. So is that how she found her? I missed that. I guess the tracking her.
yeah, she used an app or something. I don't know if she's just talking about that like Find Me thing. I'm not sure, but it said that she used an app, and when she didn't come back to the bar or whatever, um, I don't know. I didn't. She'd gotten off work. Is that not suspicious to you? I just didn't think of it that way. I don't know. And it was so brutal too. I mean, that was her dog too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It sounds like it was pretty. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't think of it that way. That it could be her.